تيار شي تيار شي تيار شي بهر معسكر صنبال بإيمان بإعداد ورسبر تيار شي تيار شي تيار شي.
The most wanted international terrorist, Svengali leader, helm of a violent political regime that brought destruction and havoc over the entire world, Osama Bin Laden, known for his scaly beard, AK-47 on hand, and of course his famous white turban. After his life and death, that his life profile can be pieced together, we find the truth about Osama Bin Laden. Osama was born in a rather wealthy family in the city of Riyadh in 1957. Mohammed bin Laden, his father, was a contractor and builder born in Yemen with 11 wives and 52 children, moved to Saudi to support his large family and support his sons. His father's prosperity and hard work made him a strong social bond with the notable members of the Saudi society, the Saudi Arabian ruling family, the biggest construction company in Middle East, the Bin Laden Construction Corporation. After the death of his father in 1967 due to a plane crash, the Bin Laden Construction Corporation was taken over by his brother Salem Bin Laden. Osama, after high school, was groomed to join the family business where he studied economics and management in King Abdul Aziz University. Unlike his brothers who were in Western universities, Osama was in an Islamic university. Osama in 1970 began to test his father's wealth and fortune, that is, partying in nightclubs, casinos with beautiful young women. In 1970, his spiritual awakening began. He started reading Islamic teachings and meeting with Islamic fundamentalists and became a fully devoted Muslim. Osama later married a Syrian woman who was a distant cousin to him, and they lived in a strict Muslim life with her. After the Soviet forces invaded Afghanistan with immense power, leading to the death of an Afghanistan president, this angered Middle Eastern Arab nations. Jihad had to do something about this. Thousands of men went to risk their lives for their belief, and among them was Osama, the freedom fighter. He was strategic in his methods of war. He set up camp in Pakistan, recruited doctors, bomb experts, engineers all over the Arab world to defeat the Soviets. Unlikely, Osama got support from the United States because United States were also on the opposing and wanted to destroy the Soviets. But still, Osama made America stay away from the operations. Osama bin Laden was a war monster by now. Fighting together with these soldiers, the Mujahideen, he convinced them there is a special place for them in heaven. And this made him willing to become a martyr. He won the battle over the Soviets in Afghanistan and became a hero among the Afghani people. Famous for his anti-United States speeches, which were broadcasted all over television, made him an enemy to the United States. He moved to his modest house apartments with his family, despite his family riches and wealth. After his exile from the country, he moved to Sudan with 3 wives and 15 children, and continued with his missions to expel Westerners, replacing them with the true Islamic states. He used the Al-Qaeda, the broad-based Islamic organization that struck at United States targets all over the world, and this made him an international terrorist. By this time, he was an established international terrorist, credited for bombing attacks of 2 hotels in Aden and Yemen. These hotels were used by United States military for meetings. Due to his acts, he was a wanted man. He surrounded himself with armed bodyguards, started building caves underground to hide and continue with this operation. He bombed the United States embassies in African countries. In August 7th in Kenya and Tanzania, leading to deaths of hundreds of African people. United States stepped to attack him with an airstrike operation called the Operation Infinite Reach. Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York City, the Al-Qaeda hijackers carried out a coordinated suicide attack against the World Trade Center, Pentagon, and Washington, D.C. Within moments, it had been transformed into a fully blown war zone. This was a major wake-up call for all the Americans since Pearl Harbor. A $25 million bounty was offered for Bin Laden, and an anti-terrorist task force was set up. Despite all these efforts to capture Bin Laden, he was able to remain at large with the potential to strike again. He moved to Pakistan and stayed in the rural mountain villages protected by local tribal leaders in the Abbottabad compound. It was here where the Americans finally got him. Early May 2nd, 2011, 25 Navy SEAL commandos descended on the Abbottabad compound, quickly breached the 18-foot wall, and stormed the house using explosives and night vision goggles to breach the door. 2 men encountered on the first floor were killed, and then the commandos rushed upstairs where they identified and killed Osama Bin Laden. The SEALs took a photo and then quickly ran it through the facial recognition software, and it was Osama Bin Laden. The information was later shared to the entire world that the international terrorist had come to an end.
For over 2 decades, Bin Laden has been al-Qaeda's leader and symbol, and has continued to plot attacks against our country and our friends and allies. The death of Bin Laden marks the most significant achievement to date in our nation's effort to defeat al-Qaeda. Yet his death does not mark the end of our effort. There's no doubt that al-Qaeda will continue to pursue attacks against us. We must, and we will, remain vigilant at home and abroad. As we do, we must also reaffirm that the United States is not and never will be at war with Islam. I've made clear, just as President Bush did shortly after 9/11, that our war is not against Islam. Bin Laden was not a Muslim leader. He was a mass murderer of Muslims. Indeed, al-Qaeda has slaughtered scores of Muslims in many countries, including our own. So his demise should be welcomed by all who believe in peace and human dignity. Over the years, I've repeatedly made clear that we would take action within Pakistan if we knew where Bin Laden was. That is what we've done. But it's important to note that our counterterrorism cooperation with Pakistan helped lead us to Bin Laden and the compound where he was hiding. Indeed, Bin Laden had declared war against Pakistan as well and ordered attacks against the Pakistani people. Tonight, I called President Zardari, and my team has also spoken with their Pakistani counterparts. They agree that this is a good and historic day for both of our nations. And going forward, it is essential that Pakistan continue to join us in the fight against al-Qaeda and its affiliates. The American people did not choose this fight. It came to our shores and started with the senseless slaughter of our citizens. After nearly 10 years of service, struggle, and sacrifice, we know well the costs of war. These efforts weigh on me every time I, as Commander-in-Chief, have to sign a letter to a family that has lost a loved one, or look into the eyes of a service member who's been gravely wounded. So Americans understand the costs of war. Yet, as a country, we will never tolerate our security being threatened, nor stand idly by when our people have been killed. We will be relentless in defense of our citizens and our friends and allies. We will be true to the values that make us who we are. And on nights like this one, we can say to those families who have lost loved ones to al-Qaeda's terror, justice has been done.